Hey everyone, Josh Silver, Pulse Energy Technologies, the PEMF company, coming to you with a special PEMF Roundtable. I want to introduce to you two-time Stanley Cup winner, San Jose Sharks defenseman, Leddy. Oh, my bad. One-time Stanley Cup winner, Leddy. Well, that is definitely one more Stanley Cup than I'll ever see in my life. So let's talk about that. Just real quick, what was that experience like for you?
It was incredible. I think a lot of people have given interviews over the years, and it's truly a speechless moment. Obviously, to have family around, it's weird, also around friends, and that moment, it was very special.
How long did you really enjoy it? So you said, all right, I'm going to put it away in the next season starts.
I'd probably say by the next year, when I was in Chicago, they had their second cup. It's 4 years at the time, and then next year we actually ended up playing in the conference finals again. So we were right there every year, and it's more the leaders on that team, just being able to park it and through the year, and just trying to go for it again.
It's awesome. I hear that a lot. Is that's the challenge is you've won and now you move on to the next, because that's sort of the game people on. It's really cool to hear that process. With that, let me ask you a little bit about your experience with PEMF and your journey. I know that we've talked a little bit. You've had some injuries over your career, and you sort of discovered that here as you met the Sharks. Tell me just a little bit about the first time you tried PEMF and what you thought about it.
The first time was actually in St. Louis. They had a machine there, and it was just testing it out. I had maybe a little groin soreness or hip soreness, and threw that on before practice. And it ended up, the soreness going away after 5-10 minutes of just having it on. And, that was kind of my first experience. And I had, second time was here. I had a pretty major injury with some nerve damage. And one of the trainers here, Mike, we started just fiddling around with it a little bit. And what's it going to hurt to try it out and see what happens. And we tried an area, and it was after about a month. We probably did it 8-9 times on game days, and once or twice on practice, and we saw some muscle coming back. And I was focusing a lot on the area too, strength-wise. And, it definitely helped a lot.
That's awesome, and you bring up a good point that I'll try to tell to a lot of the athletes that are watching this or interested. We don't just use PEMF as a standalone. You'll incorporate it with all of the different PT, the strength, the stuff that you're doing, sort of as in concert with everything.
Yeah.
And that's important to know. And so the one thing I would say, if you could share with athletes, is we've done our best to express it. As I know I sound like a hype guy, and some of the people that work for Pulse Energy, we're excited. We love it. I try to explain to people that wherever your problem is, you feel it go right to the spot, and it sort of pinpoints the injury. Can you articulate just that a little bit with your shoulder, what you noticed when you used it?
Yeah, so going through kind of the injury, the nerve shut off all the way to my fingers. There was some muscle loss, just the nerve being shut off. And it was interesting. It was, we had it on my shoulder and the posterior side. It was literally it felt like along the chain of where the nerve was. And to me, I was talking about about it too. I thought it was super interesting that it was just strictly pinpointed to that. There was no muscle stuff going on. It just seemed like the nerve was almost being activated, or the pulse was targeted.
That's the conversation you and I had, because I had the similar experience with my shoulder too. And it's amazing for those of you who have not experienced it. What we're trying to talk about is almost recreating the sensation of the pain. However, when you're done, you feel better, and it may sound a little bit simple the way we're explaining it, but that's really what it does. So this is Leddy. Really appreciate all of your time. Stanley Cup winner, San Jose Sharks defenseman, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Appreciate it.